as the title implies, they wanted to see how much of an impact can a coach really have on, whether or not somebody sticks with exercise. And spoiler alert, it usually does matter.
It's shocking.
It's not just, it's not that if you don't have a coach, then that's the end of the world.
Right.
But if you find yourself on the fence, you can afford it, it's within your reach, then it can certainly help. And maybe that even means just finding somebody that's interested in exercising and looking for the free tips too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I think
absolutely
any way to find somebody to discuss those things with is useful.
Yeah, a lot of that comes out in some of what they're saying. I thought, I did a lot of this without meaning to when I was getting started.
Yeah. So in general, as many of these exercise papers do, it just highlights in the beginning just some of the importance, again, of physical activity, just like we've talked about in other segments, not just the physical benefits, but the, psychological benefits, are often understated, I would say. So we know that this is a public health issue in terms of not meeting the recommended exercise guidelines. We just need to try and better understand the factors that influence exercise involvement and adherence. Coaches are just another really, it's easy for anybody to become a coach at this point. It's certainly less rigorous than going to be a medical doctor or a dentist or, whatever the case. So that also doesn't mean that there's not a really important role for the fitness coach in the space.
Yeah.
I would say that in general, what happens is gym memberships go up at the new year and everybody's excited to join. And then there's always that attrition.
Yep.
And the thought is that hopefully working with a fitness coach for a period of time can help reduce that period or reduce that amount of dropout across the board. Some of the main factors for adherence, as we know, adherence is the biggest challenge. What they feel. So the quality of fitness coaches' behavior is essentially highlighted as a factor that can really influence the exercise participants' intrinsic motivation, their enjoyment, their interpersonal behaviors, and all, and the satisfaction basically of all of those psychological needs, which really all need met in order for somebody to kind of stick with it. Talks a little bit about motivation. I thought that was very important. Now, there's certain levels of extrinsic and intrinsic motivation that are required in order to, maintain long-term adherence. And again, we know that the social aspects of exercise are incredibly important too. So the setting is everything. Fitness coach fits right into that social component of of exercise. Having somebody alongside you makes the journey all the more worthwhile.
So the punchline here is having a coach who, and again, it was the quality of the coach's behavior is part of what they were studying.
Exactly.
Having a coach who has high quality behavior, who does the right things and suggests the right things, has a major impact on whether or not people stick with exercise over a longer period of time.
Definitely.
That's
definitely what they found. And so the way that they, came to that conclusion is they had about 200 people. This was individuals in Portuguese gyms, included men and women, various age groups. They were doing fitness group classes or just kind of basic, strength and conditioning training. Yep. So it was a longitudinal design. Data was collected at 3 different time points. Okay. So at the start or at baseline, at 3 months, and then again at 6 months. They chose this design to basically look at how these variables change or didn't change over time based upon their continued interaction with their coach and how their, commitment changed and all that sort of thing. And ultimately then can compare that information to dropouts in the typical, fitness membership.
Space,
Yeah. So in order to quantify some of this important information, they used various validated scales to look at things like, the fitness coach's behavior specifically, the intrinsic motivation of the participant, and then they also assess the enjoyment through another validated questionnaire. What was also interesting is they did look at, the results of these training programs as well. So it wasn't just purely these assessment-based aspects of how well did you enjoy this? Is the person committed? What was your coach's style, et cetera? It looked at, waist to hip ratio. It tested hand grip strength. There was a sit and reach test looking at flexibility. And then it also estimated VO2 max based on a certain walking test. So it was able to kind of connect all the dots, not just purely the subjective end of things.
Not just did they go or even did they enjoy it, but also did they make progress and improve? Exactly. I know I read in the conclusion, it said, in general, the categories with the highest predictive capacity for exercisers' outcomes are competence, enjoyment, and exercise planning and prescription. The results reaffirm the possibility of the fitness coach being considered as an important element in ensuring the spread and sustainability of exercise habits, public health promotion, and the expansion of the sector. But I loved the areas of competence, enjoyment, and exercise planning and prescription. That makes a lot of sense. Competence, because when you go into the gym, there's just a ton of weights and gears, and there's all kinds of machines you walk up to and you kind of go, I don't know what this is supposed to work out. And you can spend 10 minutes trying to figure out how you're supposed to move with it, let alone if you just use free weights or a barbell. So that makes sense. That's kind of what they're there. Enjoyment, that's one that actually I was a little surprised by. And then the exercise planning and prescription, again, somebody who has some experience doing these things can say, hey, no, that's enough bench press for today. We're going to work on your back. We're going to work on something else for a few minutes. That makes sense. But the enjoyment piece, that was really, really cool. I've found that to be true. Having a coach who can keep an eye on all the different numbers that are taking place and changing and start tweaking things for you as you go along, going, didn't seem like you liked that one last time. We're going to try a different movement. Or, hey, we've been doing this one for a long time. We're going to try something new and keep it fresh. We're going to, all those sorts of little changes have made a big impact on my enjoyment of the gym.
For sure.
So, yeah, I loved that.
Yeah. Again, another one of those studies that, I'm sure people could poke holes in certain things, but again, it really just does point in the same direction that much of the other research does. And that is, if you are able to, working with a professional, even if it's just temporarily, can really help shape long-term adherence. Again, because even if you are the type of person that, hey, I want to go out on my own and do this eventually, that even maybe that short time, and maybe there's additional research on this, but you're always going to be drawing on that experience that you had with somebody who, provided those guardrails, at least for a time.
It just make you feel competent when you walk in, like you belong there. And that's the thing you're supposed to be doing. I love it.
Exactly. So they confirmed their hypothesis.
Always nice.
Fitness coaches' behavior, exercisers' intrinsic motivation, and enjoyment influence health and fitness outcomes and the maintenance of exercise routines.
Very cool.
I mean, hey,
very
Josiah,
cool.
So, are you ready for next year?
Who's training me? Which one of you?
You don't want me to do it.
I don't know. I've seen some of you run past.
Spoiler alert.